1 minute warning!
To the goofball army out there, hi at the families, tell them to get to the next room, tell them to go to your neighbors, because we got goofball news to go over, and it might get crazy.
Typically does, guys. If it's your first episode ever, you got like 30 seconds before we start, so not enough time to go to the bathroom, but go get a drink, because trust me, you're probably going to need it there. In the meantime, the rest, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. That way you know about future episodes as well, guys. Buckle your seatbelts if you haven't already. Make sure your tray is in the upright position here, guys, because we are just about ready to get going. And like, whew.
Guys, if you want a crazy ride going forward, a bunch of nonsense, but all nothing but the truth about the Giants, listen in, buckle in, tell a friend.
Let's go.
And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob. And let's get into some rumors, because a rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
It's
that time of the year, guys. Rumors go flying, and sometimes they're utter BS, and sometimes you're like, oh, this person seemed to have known something that nobody else seemed to have known. And then it happens every single offseason. You know, you get a combination of early whispers along with people just bored and trying to create stories.
Yeah, just like that Twitter account.
Yeah, kind of. So we're going to try to separate the BS from the real today in a couple of big rumors that came out this week with the New York Giants. We're also going to run down for you guys players that are potential cap casualties for other teams and where they might fit on the New York Giants here with the new Harbaugh era there. All righty, so the big one, guys, let's be honest, I've been hearing about this one for days, and we really haven't addressed it. So we're going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room here, because...
Or the Penguin.
Or the Penguin. So let's address the Waddle smoke here, because framework matters, and talking about swapping first-round picks and all kinds of craziness going on here. And to be honest with you guys, I like to give you who started specific rumors when I hear it, because I don't know about y'all, but I keep kind of a Rolodex of who's legit and who's BS. There's so many people talking about this right now. I can't even separate and tell you who was the first one. So the rumor going around is that the Giants are once again supposedly interested in Jaylen Waddle. And there's been rumors of them on and off having interest in Jaylen Waddle for a little while now. Now the rumor is that the Giants would somehow swap first-round picks with the Dolphins. Keep in mind, the Giants have pick number 5. The Dolphins have pick number 11. They would then go ahead, and the Giants would have to throw in a player. I've heard the rumor of Kayvon Thibodeaux. I've heard the rumor of Darius Slayton. And that the Giants, in some of those scenarios, would even include getting a pick back, like a third-round pick, depending on the framework of it. Though no one's addressed the real elephant in the room. That I feel like every time the Waddle name comes up, you and I kind of waddle over to that scenario. And the issue is the money.
I was about to say, show me the money.
His contract is so goddamn backloaded. And you know what the scary thing is? I looked at it again today, and I realized our numbers were wrong before. Because his contract's even worse than we thought it was, because I didn't realize he literally has a bonus per game he plays in. So his number, his cap number next year, if the Giants or any other team was to trade for him, $9.88 million. $9.88 million. Not so bad necessarily. That I can deal with. 27. With the bonuses added, it goes to $32.16 million.
Ridiculous.
28, it goes to $35.53 million. So this is the problem, guys. He's not worth the money. You think the Darius Slayton contract is bad, guys? Imagine paying $30 million to a guy that's not going to hit 1,000 yards necessarily.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers. No, thank you. Stay away.
Yeah. Like you're paying him to be the next Justin Jefferson, basically. So you'd either have to end up cutting him, after 1 year, or restructuring, extending him, whatever the case may be, to get that number down the years forward. And it just doesn't make sense. And we keep on harping every time his name comes up to everybody. And I'm hoping for some of y'all gets through. But you can't sit there and go ahead and pay a guy over $30 million a year. The last year, 15 games, 58 catches, 744 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
And it's
Actually, I'm sorry. I gave the 24 stats. That was his 24 stats. 25, 16 games, 64 catches, 910 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Much better, but still not $30 million better.
Yeah, he didn't have to compete with Tyreek Hill pretty much because his foot was backwards. And he did have to compete with some bad quarterback play, though.
You know what, though? What happened with bad quarterback play when we had Malik Neighbors' rookie year?
I hear you.
Cream always rises to the top. And you know what? This
the
guy
macho man over here
clearly was born under a bad sign and just didn't have that abilities to go ahead and be that top number one guy. If you take out his 2022 season, which, let's be very frank, is the whole reason why everybody still thinks of him as a great player. He had 1,356 yards. So I don't want to take away from what he did that season. Great season. 4 years ago. But he only averages 920 yards a season. So last year, 910 yards wasn't an anomaly. That is a regular season for Jaylen Waddle. And you want to go ahead and pay him $30 million plus a year? Just doesn't make sense.
No.
And why would he give that up? Unless you're telling him point blank, I'm going to cut you, we're going to get a new deal, whatever the case may be. There's got to be something else. And if you're getting Jaylen Waddle, it's funny because JIC put the comment just in here too. If you get Jaylen Waddle and you're the Giants, you're not getting Wan'Dale Robinson. That's the truth. You're not keeping Wan'Dale Robinson if you go get Jaylen Waddle.
He may be part of that trade.
You know what the crazy thing is? Robinson's a better player. So
I mean, it's arguable. I think so, but it's arguable.
It just drives me nuts when I see Giants fans that literally advocate for this every time Jaylen Waddle's name comes up. And you go ahead and look. Wan'Dale Robinson just had a 1,000-yard season, guys. You got a guy who just had a 900-yard season. Guy who hasn't hit for the last 2 years 1,000 yards. In a much more explosive offense than Wan'Dale Robinson's been in, by the way. A guy who hasn't sniffed 90 catches, which is what we've been getting basically from Wan'Dale the last couple of years. And I hear Giants fans now, I don't know if Wan'Dale's worth $18 million. I don't know if he's worth $20 million. But Waddle's worth 30?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's like, I don't get it. And don't get me wrong, my argument is not that Wan'Dale is worth that money. Because there's things about him that worry me as well. What's going to happen? He's a number 2 again, as opposed to number 1, that kind of stuff. But what I'm getting at is if you think that he's not worth 18 or 20, and you think Wan'Dale's worth, you think that Jaylen Waddle is worth $32, $35 million in 27 and 28, then put the crack pipe down, guys. Point blank, like that's insanity. That is absolutely insane. And no disrespect to Jaylen Waddle, he's not a bad player. But you can't pay a not a bad player the money you pay an excellent player. He's not that. He's not a Pro Bowler. He's not an All-Pro. He's not a guy who's on pace for the Hall of Fame. That's what you're paying him if you pay him $35 million. You're paying him that kind of money.
Yeah.
So unless there's some kind of new deal, you could not pay me to take that Jaylen Waddle contract on. And on top of that, you're going to go down to the draft. And you're going to give up Kayvon potentially or Slayton, which I guess, let's be honest, most people, I wouldn't be upset if we close Slayton the deal.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not okay moving down the draft. I'm okay getting rid of Slayton. Yeah, especially if you're upgrading the player. You know me, I'm on the fence about Kayvon Thibodeaux. So it's not a winning deal for me.
No. If it wasn't for the contract, I wouldn't necessarily be that.
If you turn around and said you got it for 18, I might be sitting there like, all right, is it worth this, that? I'd probably still say no, but like that's more of like where he's probably going to find in the free market.
Yeah. If he was a free agent, he probably would get more like 20.
I mean, you could argue, yeah, maybe.
In all fairness, that's what the contract basically was. The Dolphins just literally backloaded it so much that it's insanity. And then they're like, oh, well, now that it's coming up, we're going to go ahead and pay you. Or we're going to trade you, I'm sorry. Because the cheap years are coming up. That's what it is. I mean, if you look at his cap number was $9 million in 24, $8 million in 25, 11 this year coming up if the Dolphins were to keep him. But in 27, it jumps to $33 million, $37 million in 28.
Backloading that contract.
That's exactly what it is. And I think people also got to recognize that contract makes him really difficult to trade, not just from a receiving perspective, but from them as a trading. If you cut him right now, if you trade him right now, his cap goes from $11.6 million to 23.2. You're literally taking an $11.6 million hit. Now, you could split it, of course, and do a post-June 1st. And if you do that, you freed up $4.8 million. But then what do you do with Tua? Because if they're going to get rid of Tua, which has been the rumor, Tua is your post-June 1st. Unless you literally just hold on to Waddle and literally physically wait till June 1st to do it.
Which is kind of dick move, but
it would be an extremely dick move. Most teams wanted the money for that. They're not going to wait around.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good financial decision. While he's not necessarily a bad player, while he's not necessarily a bad fit for what we want to do, well, I would argue he's a speed receiver that goes downhill, and it's not necessarily the best fit either, but you figure it out. I just feel like this is not the right way to go. This is not the right move. So, and we'll give you guys that. We're going to go over a list of some guys that we think the Giants could be interested if they hit the market. They very well could. And there's a couple of guys in there that I think actually fit much better. So, but before we do that, we got to address one more elephant in the room. Because now we got to address the Kelce rumor, which is just pure absolute chaos, guys. And it just begs the question, is this a real football move or a New York headline, so to speak? And if it were to happen, what would it actually mean for the offense and all? So, listen, the rumor started because of Craig Carton. We're gonna give the credit where credit is due. Those in audio podcast land, there's definitely the floating quotation marks there when I say credit. Because it's Craig Carton. Anybody that watches this show on a regular basis knows what I think of him. It's not very well.
He knows too.
No, that's the other guy. He's never messed me on Facebook. I like some other people. But it makes no goddamn sense. Like, I'm not going to hold this conversation as like, what is this? What happens if this? It's not. It doesn't even make sense to even entertain this moronic thought that got put there on WFAN just to go ahead and try to help their ratings. That's what this is. It's 100% what this is. Slow news day, and Craig Carton's like, well, this is what I think, what I've heard, and this would be amazing, blah, 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 blah. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, and it just reeks of slow news day news. And to me, it's one of two things. Either he's making BS up just to get ratings because it became a bigger story. Or number two, he got fed a line of BS. He doesn't know the difference between real and fake. I guess you can say there's a 1% chance that I'm wrong and he's got some source that nobody else seems to have.
I mean, I try to be an optimist on most things, but it just seems like BS. Like, it just literally seems like you're pulling something out of your butt. And it's like, hey, like you said, Drew, this may sell some ads for me. Let's roll with it.
Yeah. That's 100% what it is. I'm sorry, but a guy that got, put in federal prison for ticket resale fraud schemes, I'm supposed to trust this guy with news? I'm sorry, I can't get past that. And partially I'm just pissed off at WFAN for letting them back on the air, to be honest with you guys. I look at this guy and I feel like every time he talks, it's what will get me in the headlines, what will get me talked about, as opposed to let's give people actual quality news.
Yeah, I mean, Kelce's going to retire as a Chief. He's at the
doubt.
What?
To me, there's no doubt on that.
Yeah, it's just
like, why would he have sat there for 13 years just to go play somewhere else and ruin his entire legacy?
Yeah, I have such an amazing history with this organization. Let me tarnish it by playing 1 year with the Giants.
Yeah. Now, here's exactly what Carton said for the record, just to make sure we're giving the proper quote. He said, rumor is that Travis Kelce wants to come back for another year. Kelce wants to play for the New York Giants. He and his wife can live in New York City. It's just a rumor. Do not sleep on the Giants signing Kelce this offseason. No. Now, if we're talking about him as a talent, it's a talent. I mean, he's got a talent still at that point. Last year, 17 games, 76 catches, 851 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Don't get me wrong. It's not the 1,200 yards of Kelce's heyday, obviously. But that's still a damn good tight end in this league at 36 years old.
And especially like last year, which is crazy to say, but the lackluster offense from the Chiefs, he still had a good year.
Yeah. And I get it. The allure of Taylor Swift living in New York, and obviously I assume that since they're getting married, that Kelce and Taylor want to live together. I don't know what kind of arrangement they have. I'm not judging their relationship. I could care less what the relationship is, really, to be honest. But I just don't see it happening. And to me, this is just like the equivalent of like clickbait, basically, on the radio.
Pretty much.
That's just what it comes off as. So, like I said,
let me say something crazy so everyone just tunes into my show to hear what I have to say next.
That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like when I saw that. So, all right, let's get to some real news here. That we've gone through the BS rumors that have been floating around here. So, we want to talk about players that could potentially, because who knows, things happen, but guys that at least on paper looks like are going to get cut by their current teams that might be a good fit for the Giants. We already went through this week offensive potential free agent targets on Monday. Yesterday we did that for the defense, and there's definitely some guys that may not be right now available in free agents and aren't honestly plotting to be, but they may have to be because of their contracts. And I know everybody thinks always like, okay, why would you want to play that somebody else cut? Sometimes it's just contract stuff, guys.
Sometimes it's contract stuff. Sometimes it's just a fit.
You're not wrong.
Man. I mean, look at the Giants. We're moving around a whole bunch of players. We talked about it yesterday. Like, this doesn't seem like it's going to be a fit in this organization with the new coaches. Yeah. Same thing happens on other teams.
Yeah.
They may get a new coach.
Runyon and Okereke is probably the big two that you and I talked about that I could sit there and say Runyon and Okereke would go to another team and would start from the team potentially.
Yeah.
Definitely Okereke. I think Runyon would start, but it wouldn't completely shock me if he had to take a backup role. But there are sometimes legit good players that just get cut because it's like, do I keep this player who's an average or a slightly below average player, or do I save $20 million in cap space and go get 2 really good players?
Sometimes it's position and trying to upgrade your team. Like you have to take a player that might be a little above average. That's going to cost you a little too much when you can sit there and get 2 players for the same cost.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world sometimes, and that's the problem with the financial aspects of football. It's not like baseball where things are guaranteed no matter what. It's not like that kind of scenario. They cut them to save money. So, first one here. We've been talking about receivers. We talked about Jaylen Waddle and all too as well, and you guys were like, "Oh," I saw Jay in the comment. Well, what would you do? Like, who else would you go get? First off, I'm bringing back Wando. I've already said that multiple times in the show. But if I'm looking at bringing in a third receiver, another guy that fit in this offense here, there's 2 guys that pop out that are going to be probably cut. And Jay says we have Jalen Hyatt. No, we're cutting Jalen Hyatt as well, unfortunately. That's a salary cap move we have to make. Clearly not talent issue at all. Yeah. I can't even say with a straight face. Calvin Ridley's number 1. And 31 years old, so he's getting a little bit up there for a receiver, obviously. Had an injury issue last year, only played in 7 games. So, broken right fibula, by the way. So, that's a legit injury. Again, you have to kind of know what's going on with the medical stuff. We don't have access to that, so we're just kind of assume for right now that he's healthy. His cap number for the Titans, $26.45 million. They cut him. They saved $13.02 million. Guess who's getting cut? There's no way you're paying a guy like that. Now, he had 1,000 yards each of the past 2 seasons before that, including with the Titans, his first year with the team, which I'm sorry is impressive because it's the Titans. Like, this was not a good offense, guys, and he still did 1,000 yards receiving. Now, he's, of course, who did he play for in Tennessee? Brian Callahan, our quarterbacks coach. You also, of course, had Denard Wilson, the defensive coordinator there in the building. Frank Bush, the linebackers coach at the building. You got connections there.
All day long.
So, wouldn't be crazy to me if nobody wants to sign him to a decent contract where he gets a legit starter contract, that he goes, go back to Callahan, depending on the relationship the 2 of them had, which none of us know, obviously. They know. We don't know. But I could see the potential.
Are you trying to say if he doesn't come here, he hates Callahan?
No, I'm not.
You're starting that rumor?
I'm going to say he loves money. Like I said, the Giants aren't going to pay him a ton of money. Like I said, I think that if we can get that, it's a decent addition. I think especially as a third, he's basically taking Slayton's spot. Or you have him as a starting outside receiver technically. So we still, one of your top 3 receivers there. And Slayton comes back down to 4 and just gets brought in for deep threat throws, basically. Or Slayton outplays him. Maybe it gets the best out of Slayton again. We start getting the 700-yard version of Slayton again we haven't gotten the last 2 years. As long as you're not paying this guy a lot of money, I don't see the issue with it. And I look at a guy 31 years old, coming off his worst season, literally having a broken fibula. He could come cheap on a 1-year deal. When I say cheap, I don't mean like $1 million, obviously. He's going to cost so much.
Yeah, it's going to cost, a little bit, but he's not going to get the top draft like the guy just got 1,000-yard back-to-back seasons. I think
if you get him for like $5-6 million on a 1-year deal and a prove-it deal at that point, why not do it?
Because he's probably going to get like 8 to 10.
I don't know, honestly. He's already, first off, he's already been on multiple teams. He's including, he's had some off-field issues, including being suspended for a year for gambling, I believe it was.
It was.
So, I don't know. But I just feel like he's a guy that if he gets cut, which we anticipate that based on the numbers and what he's done, right guy, right time. You know what I mean? Like that's where I feel like it would be, because you get a guy that's not going to be as much as he usually would be if he hit the market, and you're giving him a chance to rebuild his value. I'm there for it.
Even if he's $8-9 million, like that $10 million mark's like kind of where it's like you get shaky, but like you get him for there for a rebuild, like, and just give competition to our room, because let's be honest, Neighbors is probably not going to come back healthy fully, at least the first couple weeks of football.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, there's some people that come back right away from injuries. Like,
I could see that being the pitch, though. Even
come here, prove yourself. You might be the number one for a little bit this year, and then make the money somewhere else. Like, we'll give you the spot, like, because we have our number one.
Like I said, to me, that's the potential pitch part of it there, because I don't know if he gets that opportunity a lot of places. Not to say we're the only ones that would give him that, but you know, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the right move to go. So, we have another receiver that also fits the bill as a guy who's going to be a cap cut probably. Michael Pittman Jr. for the Colts. Just 28 years old still, so still in that prime area there. 17 games, 80 catches, 784 yards, 7 touchdowns. His cap number is $29 million next year. The Colts saved 24 by cutting him.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, like good luck trying to convince an owner to pay you $30 million when you're looking. Like he hasn't had he's kind of like Waddle. He has had a 1,000-yard season in a couple of years. That matters.
Yeah, he's going to get restructured hard. But it's a hell of a number to try to.
It is
restructure.
He's got 6 years in the league now. Only 2 of them are 1,000-yard seasons, and he's being paid, if you keep him at that number, like a top flight receiver, and he's not. You know, he's a good receiver. He's not a great one. He's above average. He's not elite.
Correct.
That's where he's at. And he's still, like I said, young enough where you still got him kind of in that, end of his prime kind of time period there. So I like the move if we can do it. And I like the fact also that he fits this offense decently as well. If you look at his, average yard per reception, it's 10.8 yards. He's not the guy going 20, 30 yards down the field. He's the guy running the quick hook route. He's the guy running the slant. That's more of what fits the offense that Matt Nagy wants to run. And that's what matters. Scheme fit matters, guys. That's a scheme fit. Plus, anywhere he goes is going to be an upgrade at quarterback. He had Daniel Jones last year. Had to take the shot. By the way, you do want to go ahead and re-sign him, I'm hearing too. Daniel Jones.
I mean, he did play pretty well for them.
Until he played rogue teams, but yes.
I didn't say he played great. I said pretty well.
That's what I'm saying. He played pretty well against crappy teams, which is what he did for us. Give you just enough hope.
Oh, listen, he played better against crappy teams for the Colts than he did against.
I remember a few Commanders games. He looked elite.
Yeah, but he was close to 30 yards in a lot of games with the Colts.
I'm just saying.
He looked elite with 200 yards with us. So
yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
we'll see. He was right next year. And we've been talking also about the tight end position. The tight end position there's a couple bigger names out there in free agency automatically. There's a couple other names that might go into it as well. The first one is one of the bigger names out there in the NFL for tight ends, TJ Hawkinson, who, again, another big contract guy, but he's not been living up to it there. His cap number is $21.29 million. And the Vikings saved $8.87 million by cutting him, which isn't as big a chunk as some of the guys, but the Vikings are desperate for money, guys. They are right up against the cap. And you cannot pay a guy $21 million who last year had 51 catches, 438 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And just a 61.2 PFF grade. You can't. So I look at him as a guy that is still a productive tight end. He's 29 years old. You can say he's coming out of his prime potentially. You can say that. That's not crazy to say.
Come off an injury,
huh?
Did he also just come off an injury last year?
Always coming off an injury. That's
that was sort of like a big injury where he missed like 6 games at the beginning of the year. Where because I think it was an ACL prior. So
yeah, but he's always had that. So it was a torn ACL and MCL he had back in late 23. That's basically been now 2 years since then, and he hasn't been the same player. He had 960 yards in 23 in 15 games. Since then, he's had 25 games he's been in, and he's just shy of, looks like, we'll say about 900 yards, like in those 25 games. So he has been back since, really, to what he was. And that's part of the problem. You know, like that's the issue. It's unfortunately, and I don't know if he's just not the same player, or I don't know if he's still just coming back from it. But again,
I don't think he's been 100% healthy since he came back.
I don't think so either. But you know what? You put him in that tight end room with Theo Johnson.
It's an upgrade.
That's an upgrade. The big thing is how much money would he get? And I think this is a guy that if he hits the market, he's going to be disappointed by what he gets. You know, Kyle Pitts is on the market. Njoku's on the market. You know, like Dallas Goedert on the market. There are tight ends that are going to have much bigger of a, response when they hit the market than I think TJ Hawkinson will. So
probably.
Again, not a bad player, but the last couple of years hasn't been the same guy he was. And we've been saying all along, we need to bring another weapon in this team. Not a bad weapon to bring in.
We said that about Waller, so let's
listen. I still stand by Waller. I still stand by Waller. Waller's problem was the fact that they kept on trying to make him into a blocking tight end as well, and he's not. He was a big, tall receiver. That's what he was. He did not want to block. And if you got him to block and play fullback, that's your stupidity. Now, I don't like the way he handled the scenario, but saying he wanted to quit and all this kind of stuff. But, you brought a guy in to do that. So, all right. One more tight end we got. And this will be much more of a gamble, I think. And that's Jonnu Smith, who's now 31 years old. Last year, 17 games, 38 catches, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and just a 46.9 PFF grade, which is really bad, guys.
Yeah.
His cap number, $10.87 million for the Steelers next year, and they can cut him and save $7 million right there.
Oh, he's gone. Brandon coaching staff, there's no doubt in my mind. He is on the chopping block.
And you might look at those numbers and say, God damn, that's bad. But I just don't think the Steelers used them correctly.
No, which is amazing. But,
you look at the year before, in 24 with the Dolphins, 88 catches, 884 yards, and 8 touchdowns, which was by far his best year, by the way. I should say that right off the bat. But he averages 425 yards per 17 games. So you can sit there and say, yeah, that was a career year. Everything went right. The planets aligned. Venus was in retrograde or whatever. I don't know. Not an astronomer. But
astronomy.
Whatever it is. But it's like, I can look at that and go, well, nothing happened except he went to a different team. And if I'm the Giants and he gets cut, I'm looking at both years and going, what's different? And what happened in Miami? Does that fit what we want to do? Or does what happened in Pittsburgh fit what we want to do? Because if you're going to run an offense like they ran in Pittsburgh, don't get this guy.
It's probably going to be in the middle of both. Because look at the way 2 years ago, how the Dolphins played offense. They were one of the better offenses in the league. They're just fast moving down the field, go. Grant 2 was out for some of the game, but when a backup quarterback comes in, will they rely on a tight end because they just usually run slats? But they ran the ball a lot, they threw the ball a lot, and it just moved. So that really fed into what he could do. But when you go to the Steelers and all they want to do is run the ball because they're afraid of Mason Rudolph throwing the ball, there's some situations there.
Well, Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball most of the year. I mean, but you still had, Vermouth there as well, the young tight end, along with Darnell Washington, who's a young promising tight end as well. And I think that's what I think part of the problem was he wasn't necessarily featured. Like you go into a scenario where now all of a sudden you're not the guy, you're one of the guys. And that's a different thing. And again, this is on the Steelers, and you have to wonder if they literally got him just to facilitate the move to get rid of Minkah Fitzpatrick. I don't know. Only they know. But it makes you wonder, because why else would you bring in a guy and just not use him? Just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
And if you look at his snap counts, it actually didn't go down that much. So he went from playing 55% of offensive plays to 52%. It's not that big of a difference. But the crazy part is there's a whole lot more offensive plays with the Dolphins because it's more prolific offense. 626 snaps he played compared to 536. That's a big difference there. But even the targets, he got targeted 111 times with the Dolphins in 24. 54 with the Steelers. 54. That's his lowest since 2022. He's better, I think, than what the Steelers did to him.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and I think he's not a big enough name that you have to force him at tight end number 1 too. Like you can put him out there for double tight end sets and stuff like that. You can do that kind of stuff. You can still develop Theo Johnson in the meantime. He's a veteran guy that might also be able to help with the development of Theo Johnson. But he's also a guy you can just bring in on a third down and 10, and I need this catch kind of scenario, and I just don't trust, Theo Johnson to be the guy to get it. Because he's dropped so many of those. So we got a couple linemen too. We've said it before. This is going to be an interesting year for the offensive line. We don't know what's happening at basically 4 out of the 5 positions. Legitimately where it's at. We don't know what's happening on 4 of the 5 positions. Like Runyon could get cut, JMS could get benched or moved to guard, depending on what they do at center. Greg Van Roten's a free agent, Jermaine Illuminor is a free agent. We finally get a decent offensive line, and 4 out of 5 positions are up in the air right now. That's the Giants' just luck right now.
Giants' way.
So here's a guy that, again, you got to check the medicals. And obviously, dating a Packers fan there, Rob, you can explain a little better on this guy here. But Elgton Jenkins, here's a guy who literally played center last year, but he's played guard. He's played right tackle. He's played all over the offensive line for the Packers throughout his career. 31 years old, 9 games last year, a 62.0 PFF score, 72.5 pass, 60.6 run. His cap number is $24.33 million. Packers saved $19.53 million by cutting him, and they're definitely probably cutting him and Rashawn Gary, to be honest with us, the 2 big ones to clear up some cap space here. But he had a lower leg fracture towards the end of the year, which I thought was funny the way they say a lower leg fracture. What is this, the upper leg fracture? Like, oh, you only have one leg. It just sounds weird when you say lower leg. It's the lower portion.
Like, did you want to say like it was a tibula or fibula? They're just like,
I was saying the lower portion of the leg. It's not the lower leg. It's not like there's multiple legs like that. I'm like, oh, there's the upper leg. No, that's an arm, sir. That's an arm.
You're way off. That's part of the hip. Lower your no, but I mean, besides the guy getting injured, you already hit it on the head. Like this guy's going to cost you a lot of money to keep, and Green Bay has done something that the past few years it's been impressive. Is they kept a lot of farm raised guys, and put him in and played pretty well. I mean, that served them most of their franchise, if you will, at least in recent years. And you talk about, are you going to save $20 million by cutting a guy and bringing up a guy that's probably going to cost you $5 million? You're going to cut the guy that costs you $20 million. Well,
Yeah.
you're going to free up $20 million.
All day long. And like I said, you can't even blame people for wanting to talk about that as an option. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world to do it. So
this is a guy, it's a Swiss Army knife. He's going to get a starting job. He's going to get paid somewhere else. He's going to get a starting job.
And again, the nice thing is that he can play anywhere, pretty much. Now, I think he's not going to get paid big personally, I think. I don't think he's going to be that expensive necessarily because of the injury. I think people don't want to see a little proof of that. Though it wouldn't surprise me if someone does because he's an offensive lineman and people are always so desperate for offensive linemen.
Is he going to get $25 million?
No.
He's probably going to get half that.
I don't know if he does.
He's probably going to get half that because just his ability to play in multiple positions. Yes, he's injured, but he was injured. He's coming back from. Who knows? Maybe that's why I didn't disclose
lower leg.
Maybe that's what.
Maybe that's what. Like Jordan Love rolled on him, and that's what broke his leg.
Yeah. So, is it like part of one of the ball parts of the tibia or fibula, like instead of the actual bone itself? Like, does this chip down there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know the X-rays. I don't know what it was.
Yes, we are not doctors. We just play one on TV.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I'm saying you got to figure it out. I mean, the only place this guy has not played is right guard. That's the crazy part. He's been a left tackle. He's been a left guard. He's been a center. He's been a right tackle.
Yeah.
All in the NFL. All in the NFL.
We're going to rephrase this. He is the buffet line at the Golden Corral.
Yes, he is the pot roast burrito.
No, because that's just one item. He is all down that line because you can move him from the pot roast to the meatloaf.
What was the second? What was the new thing we created for the? I can't remember the Golden Corral. But yeah, like I said, I think the injury is going to bring down his value.
It is, but when you say
he's also 31 years old. Not that that's ancient, but it's not young where you can go, okay, he should recoup from this injury, no problem. People start worrying when a guy hits over 30 and gets a big injury.
I just wonder, because the expression of how they say the injury, like what it actually was. Like, if you just say lower leg fracture, like, granted, they say fractures, like, is it the tibia and the fibula? And they don't want to disclose that because it's a way more serious injury if it was just one or the other. I
can tell you it's definitely not the medulla oblongata.
Well, that's way off the lower leg.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I can look it up real quick and see if they give us a little more information, but that's all I had seen on there. Broken fibula. And ankle. Ankle and fibula. So
the fibula bone connects to the ankle bone connects to the foot bone.
But it was also the beginning of the very beginning of November. So it wasn't like this was like week 17. So like I said, I don't know. It depends on how he's healing. But I can also say before I got hurt, a 62.0 PFF grade. Again, I know PFF's not everything. It's not like he was lighting it up like, oh my God, this guy's a Pro Bowler again. He's been twice, by the way. But it's not like he can sit there and say it was a Pro Bowl season he was having.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much.
And I mean, legit Pro Bowl, not a Shedeur Sanders Pro Bowl, by the way.
Yeah, no, he definitely was. But I don't know how much of that low PFF grade on the run was his fault compared to coaching, because Green Bay, for whatever reason, wanted to stuff the run down everyone's face because they had Josh Jacobs, and they forgot that Jordan Love could throw the ball. So there's also that. They, a lot of times, especially early in that year, they decided to go first down run, second down run, third down pass, kind of like the Giants.
Yeah. So, like I said, we'll see what happens there, but I think it's a pretty safe bet he's going to get cut just because they need to cut people to make some room for money wise there. And I just don't know what the market's going to be for him. Because it depends on how that medical is there. So that's unfortunate. We have no way of knowing that. We have one more offensive lineman here who does have ties to the Giants coaching staff, and that's Jawan Taylor. who's still just 29 years old. I feel like he's been playing forever here. 12 games last year, rough year. 55.3 PFF grade, 67.3 pass, 43.8 run. His cap number is $27.39 million. The Chiefs saved $20 million by cutting him.
Cut him out.
I think it's safe to say he's getting cut. Now, here's the beauty of it, though. Matt Nagy obviously was there. So you have literally the guy who was offensive coordinator last year now with the Giants. Maybe that's the guy you bring in. I'll say this. He wouldn't be plan A, B, or C for me.
Or D.
I was trying to not be so bad about it, but he's a potential option if your other options collapse. Like we talked about yesterday, you don't want to go into the draft with a hole. So if the guys that you're interested in offensive line are like get taken off the board, Illuminator's gone, that kind of thing. The guy from the Colts is gone. Like all these guys get gone. You go, maybe just bring in Taylor. Just don't pay him a ton of money, and hopefully. I mean, I can't imagine the way he's played the last couple of years that people would think he's worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
By the way, look at Jay. He says, "Oh wow, James Hudson's 216, such a great deal." I never said that. We hated that deal from the get-go. Don't you poke the bear, Jay. We hated that deal from the get-go. And like I said, Taylor's not. If Taylor got that kind of money, I would probably say still it's not a great deal. That's for damn sure. I guess 2 years, 16 is not bad for him. Like he's at least a guy you can step up and play at that point if he had to. So, meanwhile, Hudson is just crap. Hudson is like something you fish out of the Hudson. It's just not good. Not good. All right. Let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Before we do that, got to pay the bills real quick, of course, and remind you guys that, of course, you can also, beyond the usual ways of super chats and those kind of things there, sponsor the show at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. That's the best way support-wise there because it actually takes the least percentage away from us there. You can do one-time support fees. You can do monthly. Listen, anything you can do, we do appreciate it, guys. You got, of course, the merch store as well, 2giantgoofballs-shop.fourthwall.com, where we have shirts, cups, pins, towels, notebooks, even all kinds of fun stuff there. And of course, we still have the special going on right now that if you do order $100 or more, it's free shipping on it as well. Just trying to catch you guys the best deal we can there for you guys. So, and of course, as always, we're going to ask you guys, if you haven't already, do make sure that you go ahead and hit that thumbs up there while you're watching here on YouTube. And honestly, I was looking at our numbers yesterday. It's amazing what the difference is on videos once they even get just a few thumbs up compared to with other thumbs up. For some reason, YouTube seems to love that. So we got 10 so far. Let's see if we can make it 20 by the end of this year. So let's get into this. Jason says Wyatt Coffee. That's just the name of the website. If you actually go in there, it says buy a beer. And trust me, I drink coffee all day long. I never see you drink coffee. I think I probably do like 3-4 cups a day.
I usually have a morning coffee with a shot of espresso.
Yeah. I mean, just because you don't see me drinking coffee.
Yes.
Doesn't mean I don't drink coffee. Anyway, let's get into people that could fit here that are on the defensive side of the football there, because we do have some interesting guys here with connections to the coaching staff again. So, Javon Hargrave, got to talk about him. Getting a little up there in age now, 33 years old. Last year, 16 games, 52 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits and a forced fumble, 68.0 PFF grade. His cap number is $21.45 million.
Million.
The Steelers saved $10.95 million by cutting him.
I would have to imagine they're going to cut him as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's just reached that part of his career where he's starting to just a little bit, and he's still a good player. He's still an above average player. He's just not an elite player anymore, I think.
Correct. And it just, especially when it comes to the Steelers, like you got some of these They were one of the higher paid defenses in this league. And you got a new coaching staff.
Yep.
They're going to revamp everything. And
Yeah.
they're going to probably bring in a lot of young talent and change that whole team. So,
you know what? I got a theory that I think they're going to tank for a year just to try to get a quarterback next year because they haven't done that for so long. And that's been the complaint.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to someone recently about that. Like, how come they don't have a quarterback? How come they can't get a good quarterback? It's like when you have a great coach, it constantly gets you over 500 every year. You don't have good draft picks.
Yeah.
It's like you would have to sell the farm to get a good draft pick.
Yeah. And I just sold the farm last week. I don't have a farm to sell anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you go to Facebook from like 20 years ago and go with farmland or whatever it was.
Yeah. So
Farmville.
Now, keep in mind, Hargrave also has the connection to Denard Wilson, who was there in Philadelphia. So, you got, like I said, a Giants staff connection. You got a guy that's going to be probably freed up there. And he's not going to be cheap. Let me be very clear on that. He's not going to be cheap. He's going to be a guy that's going to sit there and, easily get 8 digits. I just don't know how high up to 8 digits. And you know what? If you think this is the guy you bring in, you put him next to Dexter Lawrence, and you just totally strengthen up a defensive line, then maybe go for it. We got money to play with. Again, we've said it before. Like I don't want to do stupid things with money, but we have money. Ignore the cap. We have money. We got people we're getting cut. We got people we can restructure. We got all kinds of craziness going on. If you can get a guy to solidify that defensive line, keep the linebackers free, help build pressure up the middle, it's gonna be a good option there, I think. Jason, what happens with Christian Wilkins? It's funny you said that, because I should have talked to somebody who was commenting on the video yesterday about that. Until I hear anything medically about Christian Wilkins, he is 100% off any list for me. Like, he's literally been in a he's been a complete and utter abyss because he sued the NFL and the Raiders for how he got cut from them because they didn't like the way he was rehabbing or wasn't doing whatever with his injury he had. Not a single guy has been happy basically with that in the NFL because the NFL wants you to do what the NFL wants you to do. They want you to go ahead and do what's going to make them look better. And that's taking care of the, getting back on the field. They don't want you to go ahead and be your own doctor. You saw that last year, even with Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas decided he was going to do his own thing. They didn't like that. Giants fans, quite frankly, didn't like it either. A lot of y'all were talking trash about that too at the beginning. But unfortunately, that's the way we live nowadays. Teams can't decide all these things. So there's be a big contract dispute and all that kind of stuff going on. And you guys have seen what happens with contract disputes and all. We don't go ahead and see a massive push to go get people that are suing the league. Look at Flores right now because the issue with him. Look at Gruden since that happened. They kind of get blackballed. I think so. It is what it is there. But like I said, the bigger issue for me is just I don't know the medicals. Linebacker. We got a couple linebackers that are available here. 2 of them both here are guys who are connections again to the current Giants coaching staff there. Linebacker Patrick Queen, again, another Steeler guy. So 27 years old, 17 games, 120 tackles, 1 sack, 8 tackles for loss, 4 passes deflected, and it's only a 44.0 PFF grade, guys. So definitely not the greatest, PFF grade in the world. That's for sure. For those who, put a lot of stock into that, it's a stat. It's a stat. His cap number this year, $17.19 million. Steelers saved $13.33 by cutting him. So again, he's another guy that's not living up to the contract. They're probably going to cut him. But keep in mind, 2 years ago, He started back-to-back seasons of Pro Bowl seasons. And 2 years ago, that first Pro Bowl season was with the Ravens and John Harbaugh. So, yeah, that's what you're going to probably look at and go, this is the guy John Harbaugh might want to bring back. He had success with them. Keep in mind, Denard Wilson was also with the Ravens when that happened. So, again, there's connections there. There's sensibility there. It's all a matter of they're going to look at the tape, obviously, what he did with the Steelers and go, was this a scheme issue or did something happen? And obviously, I hope it's just a scheme issue, and I hope the Giants do bring him in because I like the way he played overall. I'd like to see them at least have discussions about bringing him in. I like the way he played when he was with the Ravens. Even last year with the Steelers wasn't bad. But he just fell off a cliff here this year. So, we got another linebacker as well, Tremaine Edmonds, who's 28 years old now, 112 tackles, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits, 4 interceptions, 9 passes deflected, and a fumble recovery, a 66.4 PFF grade. His cap number is $17.44 million with the Bears. They saved $15 million by cutting him. So I got to think he's a goner there. Now, the connection to the Giants staff, obviously, would be the fact that he was a Bill during the time that Joe Shane was. Not that Joe Shane seems to have a lot of power anymore, but, you still got the GM that was there with him during that time period. Now, keep in mind, he may not be what we're looking for because he's a guy that goes into coverage a lot. I think we want to get like a run-stopping linebacker personally, but who knows? Depends what, Denard wants to bring in. Depends on what he thinks of the current, group of people that are there. None of us know that part there. So, but he's been a productive player for a good number of years now, 8 years in the league. He's lasted, 3 years with that contract. And this was a guy that a lot of Giants fans wanted to bring him in when he was a free agent a couple of years ago. He was part of that, that class of linebackers there's a ton of them that year when we got Bobby Okereke. And to be honest, he got paid less than Okereke did. And he's a guy that I would have preferred to have. I like what he does. I just don't know if the Giants do. I don't know if he necessarily is the biggest fit there. He's definitely a guy that I think would be a good fit on this team overall if they would go ahead and use him the way he needs to be done. And again, you all know where I'm at with Bobby Okereke. I think he needs to get cut. I think we got to go ahead and make a move there. But we'll see. Maybe the Giants think differently. I think he's a stat compiler. So, let's see on corner, because again, corner is a spot that we need guys at. We've talked about that. There's a couple of guys that do fit the mold of what Denard Wilson wants, but they definitely come with concerns. That's for sure. So, definitely not the guys I'm looking for necessarily, but again, we need players. So, first guy that I think is going to get cut. And again, I'm seeing Jay Snow was talking about Reek, and we talked about him yesterday. He's definitely a guy I'd bring in. But we're talking specific guys that are going to be cut, probably. Not current pending free agents. I mean, guys that are under contract we think will get cut. And one of them, I got to say, very injury prone. But when healthy, he would fit 100% what Denard Wilson wants to do. And that's Marshawn Lattimore, who's now 30 years old. 9 games last year, 27 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 7 passes deflected, a fumble recovery, and a 52.1 PFF grade. His cap space, $18.5 million. And 100% clears the books if they cut him. Remember, they traded for him from the Saints. He's still under the Saints contract, technically. So, this is a guy that you can bring in potentially at low cost because of his injury issues. He's had tons of them. He had a fractured collarbone. He had a ACL injury. That's just last year. He had a hamstring issue in 24. He had an ankle injury in 23. He lacerated his kidney and broke ribs in week 5 of 22. Every single year, it just seems like he just has issues. He's also a very high-risk player. He's a very physical player. He's a guy who specializes in press and man coverage. He plays inside. He plays outside. He fits what Denard Wilson wants to do. I just don't think that he's the guy that we want to bring in because of those injuries, unless you want to bring him in as a backup. Or you want to go ahead and draft a guy and you want to bring him in as insurance. So throw somebody out there that's not ready yet.
I was going to say that. Like, that's a veteran guy. It's more of the voice in the back just to be a support player for the young guys. But
yeah,
El Paso.
It'd be interesting because Paul Sardebo and him obviously were the two Saints corners for a few years. We basically have the Saints corners. Another guy that'd be interesting potential here. Marlon Humphrey, who we talked about before as a potential guy to bring in the Giants here. 30 years old now. Last year, 15 games, 68 tackles, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits, 4 interceptions, 13 passes deflected, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and a 49.9 PFF grade. So PFF definitely didn't like it, even though the stat line definitely doesn't look too bad. His cap number is $26.28 million. The Ravens saved 7.33, which doesn't sound like a lot on paper. But everything you're hearing is expect him to get cut. And you got to wonder, Harbaugh leaves, all of a sudden they want to cut him. Does he and Harbaugh have that kind of relationship like that where he'd, well, you know what, I'm free again, let's go. And the other guy is a man coverage guy. Now, he may not be as much press man coverage as just flat out man coverage, but he's still physical. And he's still a guy that fits what, Denard Wilson wants to do. Again, plays outside, plays inside. A little older, obviously. But I just think that's a guy that might fit at least a temporary, fit where you don't go into the draft with a hole.
I would take Humphreys over Marshawn. Like, to me, I think he fits a little better. He's got the connection. He's respectable around the league a little bit, and he's probably going to cost you. He's probably going to be a little cheaper.
I actually think that he'd be at the same cost as Lattimore because Lattimore's big injuries last year, and I don't think he's going to be healthy to start the year either. So that's why I like Humphrey better. But option number 3 is a guy that actually fits Denard Wilson's defense the worst.
The worst.
Again, he also played for him, and he might be the best option of these 3. But Jarius Sneed, 29 years old now. Last year had the injury issues there. Just 7 games, so not exactly a great season, hence why he's, probably going to be cut there. Had a lot of quadriceps injuries there. And that's basically started sidelining him there after last year. His cap number is $20.45 million. The Titans saved $16.4 million. Now, keep in mind, again, he played for the Titans, so he played with Denard Wilson there. He was already his coordinator once. Brian Callahan, Frank Bush, all the guys. We got the whole Titans connection.
The whole crew.
On top of that, he played in Kansas City when Matt Nagy was there. So even though offense, defense, we gave the whole analogy yesterday about the sushi guy and the deli guy know each other at a shop, right? Same thing. So this is a guy that we have multiple connections with. And he's a physical guy. He plays man or zone, but he's a physical corner overall when given the chance. He can do press very well. And he plays inside, he plays outside. Jay says his weird Titans thing is weird. Just stop. It's just about the fact that when guys bring in new coaches come in, they bring guys with them. It's a very normal thing. You bring in people from the Ravens and the Titans. Guess what you're going to get? Some Ravens and Titans. Like, that's what you're going to get.
It happens at any job. So that's just the NFL. Like, when Drew left his tire shop to go to another tire shop, he brought the best tire fixers out there to the new tire shop. It's just what you do.
Except shop 2 was an entire shop, and I brought nobody with me. But okay, but
I'm just saying, like
I know what you're saying.
You
like,
recruit from the best.
Like if you were to
Yeah.
leave your job selling vacuums and go over to Dyson, you'd probably bring some people with you.
I sell all the vacuums. I just don't sell for the one competitor. I just take them all in. But yes, I would take my top sales guys with me.
But I mean, this is a guy that flat out though was when he was signed just a couple of years ago by the Titans. All the talk was, how are the Chiefs going to do without him? How are they going to get around without him? Like he's an excellent corner. And now it goes like a couple years later. Oh, he got hurt. He sucks now. Just 2 years later. Now, I will say he got injury issues in 24 as well. But to me, he's still a solid corner. You just got to see, can he be healthy? And whenever you go bring in a free agent, obviously, what are you going to do? You look at his medicals. You're going to put him through a physical. If his medicals all work out and everything's good, he is probably the best of these three. And these are the big three that I think are going to be the obvious candidates to get cut by their current team that play corner. And I would love the chance. And I don't know what these guys are going to cost. Again, we don't know. You never know. I would love the chance to bring in a solid, somewhat inexpensive, potential starting veteran corner. Because I do think we're going to draft somebody. Whether it's third, fourth round, I don't know. I think we're going to draft somebody. I don't think it'll be the first round probably, but unless we trade down.
All right. And what we do, because I do have a feeling we do, just not in the first round, I would like someone there to guide them on their way. Like, I don't want to throw them out to the Wolves and Deontay bakes them. Like, you just don't want to throw them out there and like, hey, look at all these great guys you have to cover that you never had to cover in college or anyone like this in college. Do it now, and you're in spotlight. The biggest spotlight you've ever seen in your life.
The other thing is, if we're not going to get somebody in the first round, unless we get someone in the second round, chances are you're going to have to develop a kid too. So, like I said, I think that's part of that equation as well. Is we got to figure that portion of it out. So, like I said, that's what I would suggest personally. But again, it depends who's out there. It depends what the options are. We'll have to find out there. So, but anyway, that's gonna call it a night for us here, guys. We will be back again, of course, Monday, giving you guys any of the news that comes on over the weekend, or maybe we start some draft talk, or maybe we do, a couple of different things we could do potentially here. So, listen, as always, we don't care, and I'll admit freely to you guys, this is like the slowest news time period of the entire year for the Giants, which is part of why you're hearing BS rumors about Jaylen Waddle and Travis Kelce. We will always be on 3 times a week, every Monday, every Wednesday, every Thursday. As Jason Snow says, the combine starts. Listen, we don't really get too much into the Underwear Olympics.
Listen, come Thursday when we're out of material to talk about, Drew is going to do 45 minutes of dancing. So, guys, bring your super chats.
Yes.
Bring your buy me coffees, because he's going to go nonstop until you guys stop him.
Yes, we do. Just to sit here dancing around. But yeah, like I said, we'll have stuff to talk about though. So like I said, worst comes to worst, that's always our plan this time of year, is when it doesn't, it starts getting so busy that there's not Giants news to talk about. And I'm saying busy and obviously in quotation marks. I mean the opposite, slow. We just start going into draft talk. We'll start scouting players. So, so never too early. It's like learning to read. So we'll see you guys again on Monday. As always, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, always streaming on YouTube, the preferred platform, with, of course, also Facebook, X/Twitter, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite,
Drew's LinkedIn profile.
My LinkedIn profile. And, of course, as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast platforms as well. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all the big ones as well. Usually within 24 hours of the show, Spotify will also automatically flip over to video as well and give you guys the video replay as well. So that's a new thing we're starting to do there. Also, they want clips for some reason. Spotify is funky what they want, but it is what it is.
They just want.
They just want. So whatever, we'll give them a clip too. So we're doing all that fun stuff. So again, we'll see you guys on Monday. Have a happy, safe weekend here. Are you guys getting warm up there yet? Like, what's going on?
No, there's actually a possibility of snow coming in Sunday.
Oh, come on.
3 to 5 inches.
I almost feel
it was
bad
supposed to be like
live up there.
8 to 10, but it's 3 to 5 right now.
8 to
It
10.
was supposed to be Saturday and Sunday, but now it's just Sunday into Monday.
Yeah.
So
We might have 8 to 10 drinks this weekend. Anyway, we'll see you guys on Monday. Appreciate you guys for watching, listening, supporting as always. And as always, Giant fans,
go David!
G-Man.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please.